Okay, so this is our poster printer. It is an HP DesignJet T120, which means that it is a 24-inch wide roll printer. It can also accommodate sheets as small as like 8.5 by 11 and up to, I think, 11 by 17. It connects by a USB cable. It is not a Wi-Fi printer, and if you would like to get the driver for that, you'll need to contact Sanders to have that installed, or you can just install it on your own computer on the HP website. If you type in the name, you will find the driver on the HP website. Supplies for the printer are stored underneath. This bin contains refills and things. I think once I'm gone, we will probably switch to just buying off-brand cartridges because the name brand ones are very expensive. I usually buy those from Ink Owl, but you can also purchase them from Precision Colors and then a few other places. And you just find replacement cartridges either by searching for this number, HP DesignJet 711. That is the type of cartridge that this is. Or by searching the model of the printer. To replace the ink cartridges, you turn the printer on, and you can confirm that it's on because the screen will be lit up. And then you just open this little door. These tell you which cartridges to put and where. And then to remove a cartridge, you push and it should pop out like that. And then you just take the new one, remove it from its packaging, and push it in. You push until you hear the click, and then it sort of springs out, back out a little bit, just partially, not totally. And you can see that there is a generic black cartridge in here already. You can recycle these via Staples to get rewards, which I think the front desk already does with our supplies from the Xerox. So that can kind of offset some of the cost of the supplies. So when you are replacing the roll paper for this machine, we usually keep the spare roll paper just on the back of one of these shelves. And the paper that we stock is the Canon matte roll paper, 24-inch wide. I purchased that from B&H Photo, and it's, I can't remember if it's $50 or $60, but it prints about 10 to 15 48-inch double-sided long posters. They are not truly double-sided. You just print two copies and stick them together back to back. In order to remove the roll, like if you only have a few inches left and you need to put a new roll on, you just come over here. You'll see that it says roll. If we click where it says roll, we have the option to unload the roll. We're gonna go ahead and do that. And it's gonna back this paper up. Might take a second. There we go. So it is unloaded. We got this little message. We're gonna click OK. And then we can just grab this roll and lift the entire arm out. On any printer, if you see colorful plastic, that is a touch point. That is something that is removable or adjustable. And so for us, this point on the right end is fixed and will always go back into the right end. This point on the left with the blue plastic is removable so that we can take the roll off of this. Okay, so I have our roll paper. If I were to remove this and put a new roll on, I would take this end off. It just pulls like this. We have this little sprocket that the tube sits onto. The Canon roll that I purchased, the Canon paper that I purchased, it fits perfectly onto this with no other adjustments needed. So we would take that off. This side is my right side, and so we always keep this on the right. When we load a new roll of paper on, we always do end over. It should come over the back and toward you, because that's the direction it's going to feed into the printer. Then you can see this little fitting piece just squeezes in. You push until that roll is all the way up against the edge and you can't move it anymore. Then we're going to take this end and we're going to do the same thing down here. We will load with this long part facing inward, and it should squeeze in to this roll. When you're loading a new roll, typically there will be like a little piece of paper that wraps around. I recommend not taking that off until you are like ready to put this into the printer, because it just keeps it from flying around and getting in your way. So then I'm here at the printer. I'm going to set the right side in first. I can't really see what I'm doing, sorry for the poor camera work. And then we're going to set the left side in here. Okay, just to capture that from a less annoying angle, the right side sits in here, and then you bring the left side in here. It fits pretty snugly, that's normal. And then we have the paper going behind and up and out toward me. When you're ready to roll this in, or to load this paper in, this is hard to do one-handed, you're gonna get the end and it will feed down into this gap. You see those arrows pointing there. We can come over to the machine and click roll, click load roll, and then we gently push the roll paper down into this gap until you hear a click and a beep. Okay, so that means it has grabbed onto the end of the paper. On the screen you'll see that it has changed. We always use the plain paper setting. Let me click continue. It's going to suck a couple of inches of this into the machine and straighten out any crookedness that may have come from our loading. You'll see it spit a little bit of it out, pull it back in, and sometimes you'll get a message over here that says adjusting skew, which just means that the edge of it is crooked from how it was loaded in, and it'll cut a little slice of that off and you can just recycle that. Oh, so yep, it is gonna correct some skew. This may take a minute or two, and then once it's done, it should go back to the main screen over here and it'll be ready to print. So we see that it's loaded, we click OK, and now it's back to our main screen. Sometimes, especially after putting new ink in the machine, you'll send a print and you'll see that there are streaks or weird colors, things that you're not expecting. There are a few different troubleshooting steps that you can do in order to try to fix that. So the first thing that I would do is to remove the roll or unload the roll, and that instructions to do that will be in the roll loading video. but you can switch over to single sheet and just use copier paper to run all your tests on because it's less expensive and won't get used up as quickly. When you're having trouble with the printer creating weird colors that you don't expect or streaks or anything like that, you can come over here to this button and click that little wrench. This is our settings button, and you'll see we have some options here. The first place you should go should always be image quality maintenance. And whenever I'm having trouble, I always print a diagnostic image first. This will print a series of little lines and usually also a little picture of like a parakeet, and you can tell if there's something really wrong. It also is a good way to just kind of clear some of the old ink from the printer if it hasn't been used in a minute, and you can kind of decide what kind of diagnostic to do from there. If you have an issue where there are like lots of missing areas from the diagnostic image, then the next step is to do a clean print head cleaning. You can do multiple print head cleanings. It will guide you through the steps, but basically what this does is it pushes extra ink through the print head, which is the part of the printer that puts the ink down on the paper, and it will check when it's done. It'll print this image out. It'll ask you if everything looks correct. You can say yes or no. If the answer is no, it'll do another level of cleaning. This does use up a lot of ink, so if you are at like halfway through your inks, when you start, you may need to put a new cartridge in before you begin printing your poster. That's the main thing. Oftentimes when we switch out inks, it just needs to print a few things before it goes onto a big poster, and so often that will resolve most of the issues. And if you're having more trouble, you can also do a print head alignment, which is right here. That will use like a lot of ink, so keep that in mind when you start and be ready and have backups. If something happens like the printer goes unused for a few months, or maybe there's some kind of serious issue with printing that these diagnostics consistently won't solve, then you can replace the print head. That is pretty expensive. It costs around $250, but it's something that should only have to happen every couple of years, and it'll be good for the rest of the time. So to do that, you just find the replacement part. You can go to the HP website and type in this. I would not recommend buying an off-brand one. Buy an authentic HP one, because the fake ones tend to have significant problems, or they just don't work at all. So we'll click the little wrench again, and we would come down to image quality maintenance, and then we would press replace print head. Once we press that button, it's going to move the print head carriage over, and you would just open this little door and it'll have instructions on the screen. Replacing the print head is a pretty easy thing to do. I am going to shut the machine off and force the carriage over, so that I can show you what the print head looks like. Okay, so I'm not actually going to replace the print head because I don't need to right now. I got the carriage out by opening this little door, tricking the printer into thinking I was going to replace the inks, and then I just unplugged it when the carriage moved. You can do that too. It will give you a bunch of error messages when you start up again. You can come in, it's fine. To release this, there's a little toggle. Again, always colorful plastic or different colored plastic is an indicator that something can be released. And then we just lift out and up. Normally you would do this without the print cartridges inside. This has a chip, and then this is the actual print head where the printer ink comes out. And you can tell sometimes that this is really messed up because it'll look extra gunky. You can clean these occasionally, like manually, by taking them out, and there are lots of instructional videos online for how to do that. So to put it back in, we go down and then back. It should kind of snap into place, and then we close this lever. Just gonna shut everything. Plug this back in. Oops. I really need both my hands for this. Okay. And it's gonna start itself back up, and it's gonna give me a bunch of annoying messages about how I didn't shut it down before I unplugged it, which is normal. But when you do that replacement process, it will give you clear instructions, and if you have any problems, you can always find a YouTube video. So this is an example of one of our posters. They are 24 inches across, 48 inches long. You can print from basically any software that you would normally print from. I tend to like to print from Adobe Acrobat, and I always recommend that the file be a PDF or a JPEG that is 150 dpi. You can kind of see it's a little streaky right now, so it could probably stand to do another cleaning soon. And we just print 2 of these, tape them together with double-sided tape, and then clip them into the window hangers that then go up in our lobby window.